Hi, I'm Drew. Thanks for tuning in to High on Horror.
And I'm John. This episode and every future episode is dedicated to all the horror hounds and smokers out there who want to expand their knowledge of the genre and have a good time.
Today we're reviewing a twisted little tale called Spoonful of Sugar. If you like your slow burns and your mind fucks, then you should check it out. It's now streaming on Shudder. With us today, we have the director, Mercedes Bryce Morgan, with us to take us even deeper into the movie. All that and more today on High on Horror. Interviews, reviews, and the latest news all rolled into one. Alright, well, I don't know about you, John, but after that extensive intro, I could use a smoke. Let's get on into Strainwreck and not waste any time.
I don't know if that was an extensive intro. It seemed pretty to the point, but I mean, I'll use whatever excuse I can to smoke.
If you're a new listener, Strainwreck is the segment of our show where we discuss which strains we're getting wrecked on in each episode. John, I got you some gummies, brother.
Okay.
Check it out. I got you
They
the good
sound jiggly.
ones. Yeah, I got you the good ones.
I always forget if I'm able to see their name on here.
Go ahead. Who cares?
Triple Hex.
Yeah.
Let's see.
You gotta break that seal, yeah.
Break that seal. I am fucking struggling.
You're like me, you don't have any fingernails, right?
Oh.
That's usually... You want me to see if I can get it for you? John is struggling. Oh, remember what I said?
You told me, but I fucked up anyway. Oh, these are nice. They're like Christmas colors, and looks like a grape.
So they say 3 of those will do a body good, but I do 4.
All right, I'll go with 4.
Yeah, so... Oh, thank you. So, I'm glad you like the gummies and all, but I forgot to tell you something.
Good too.
Right, they're good, right? But don't hate me because I forgot to tell you something.
What's that?
So, I got all that good bud that I showed you. Well, I smoked it all before our recording session here, so I'm dry today, and I'm going to need you to carry us on this episode with weed.
Oh, okay.
I swear to God, I got the next episode, though, dude.
There it is. You're just trying to make me feel good with these gummies, and then you just hit me up with the bad news. I will say now that I've ate those pieces, it's got like an aftertaste
kind of
to
a bitter,
it.
little bitter, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, I still got some of that Pineapple Fields that we had Where Are the Monsters episode. I showed you one of those nugs. I should take a picture of it or something. That thing was fucking gigantic in the bag.
Okay, so Pineapple Fields it is today. That's good.
Yeah, we got the bong all packed up.
Sweet. So, I never played the game before, but since we talk about, current events while we're smoking, yeah, I never played the game, but I know it's popular, and I know that you have played Dead by Daylight. It's getting a theatrical movie release by Blumhouse and Atomic Monster, James Wan's company, the same team that put together Megan.
Oh yeah, I was telling you and Josh about this. I think late last week. I saw the ad on Facebook, but yeah, I love that game. I really suck at being a killer. You would think it'd be so easy. Maybe it's just me and I'm terrible at it. I just think maybe I need to play more as a killer.
Yeah.
You think it's easy to be the shape, but it's not. He has like this special stalk skill, and like you hold in a button and it doesn't play the Halloween music when you're around. So like the person doesn't know you're there. You're stalking them. So.
Okay.
But in the game, you haven't played it. You have to repair these generators and work together, and then you open these exit doors and get out. But when he has, like, the stalk, like I said, there's no clues.
Right.
I will tell you, and our boy Kenny can vouch for me, I've audibly gone, oh, shit, or yelled because I'm working on a generator and I'm moving the camera around, and then I just see, like, Michael Myers standing there. And even though it's a video game, it fucking got me. Then the music starts, like, I got that VR, man. That would be fun to get baked and play in VR. You're just playing a game in VR. Michael Myers is coming at you.
Well, I know it's a popular game, man. Like, you and a lot of my other friends play it, so...
Oh, it's so much fun.
I know it's a popular game. And Jason Blum, he swears that everyone involved is a diehard fan of the game and said, quote, "We know our partners at Behavior and Atomic Monster will help us bring the best version of this game to life."
Did he say this while dressed as an animatronic female doll?
I don't know.
I mean, I guess we'll just have to wait and see if that's true. If they're, I mean, they could still be big fans of the game and still suck at making the movie. So that's
Yeah, that's true.
But anyway, I have to imagine it's got to be the original characters from the game. The game got a lot of DLC, and I've bought a lot of them. So I mean, don't expect to see Michael Myers, Leatherface, Ghostface. A lot of faces.
Yeah.
Pinhead,
And a
Pyramid
Pinhead.
Head. There's 2 heads. Freddy, and they even had survivors of like Laurie Strode. I don't think Bruce Campbell's going to be playing Ash in the movie.
Okay.
Because he's
right.
he's one of the playable survivors.
I don't think he'll be in the movie now.
Yeah, I don't think any of the I think it's just going to be the original characters from the game, I'd imagine. And hopefully they got Ren in there. How you doing?
Well, I mean, though, just to the first off, that'd be hilarious if they tried to go full video game with it. Like, what the hell was that terrible movie? The House of the Dead. That was it. If they went full blown video game with that,
I
where it
thought
was
you were
like,
going to say full blown video game like Jumanji, and then you
No,
said
no,
sucks,
no.
and I'm like, wait, I like the Jumanji movie.
No, House of the Dead, where like in the middle of like a zombie breakout or whatever, the screen will pause and like you'll like pick a new player and like Bruce Campbell will just be on screen that you can decide to play in that scene as a character. That'd be ridiculous. But no, I can just say this though, that I don't know nothing about the game. But I know that Blumhouse has been, besides Halloween Ends, Blumhouse has been on a good roll lately, and James Wan's even on an even better roll. I think James Wan's amazing, personally. I love James Wan. So them being behind it gives me hope that for someone who hasn't played the game, that it would be a decent movie.
James Wan gives me more hope than Blumhouse themselves.
100%.
So,
You know, with him, you'll at least be fucking scary. James Wan always packs the twists and the scares and, like, you know, so... But yeah, okay, so next topic. The new Children of the Corn reboot came out to overall negative reviews. Have you seen it, John?
no, and no interest. I feel like Children of the Corn's like Black Christmas. Each
Oh my god, that's a good
each
comparison.
one's worse than the previous. Oh,
the original
the original's good.
Right.
But then as they've went through and tried to like remake or reimagine, each one's been worse.
Yeah, man, I agree. It just looks like another one of the straight-to-video shitfest sequels that there seems to always be. Ever since the first film came out, I don't even know how many Children of the Corn films there are. They're fucking everywhere.
And then the sequels got all
terrible.
weird numbered. Like, you just randomly name one 666.
Yeah, I have no intention of seeing it. If it happens, it happens. If it's one of those things like it's playing on Tubi in a few months or something like that, I might catch it, but I'm not going out of my way to see it. I really don't care. Like, I have very little intentions of seeing this. Just wanted to know if you had any intention of seeing it, though.
I don't. So, I mean, I don't really... I saw a thing that it was being done, and I was just went, oh, okay. Just kept going about my life. So, I guess now might be a little time to get into some horror hiss.
Yeah, let's do it. Horror history.
This week in horror history.
All right, let's start out horror history here. We got The Creature from the Black Lagoon, 1954. Rico Browning died at 93 last week.
Man, yeah, so Creature from the Black Lagoon celebrating an anniversary, and its star died last week. That's rough. R.I.P. Rico Browning, man, what a legend. I mean, honestly,
Smoke one for our homie.
I don't mean to be disrespectful, but it's like he was kind of only known for that, in my opinion. But what a freaking role to be known for, right? I mean, you were the fucking Creature from the Black Lagoon. By the way, how old does that make the film? 1954. And we're in 2023. Math. Let's see. I'm super baked right now, so hold on. Let me see here. Let me figure that. All these people listening are probably like, "It's
Like,
fucking
you dumb fuck.
you dumbass." I did that off the top of my head in 2 seconds. So let's
59?
59. Wow, 59 years old. That's one of the babies of the Universal Monster movies.
It was
too.
64, right?
54.
54. Oh, so 69. Nice.
69. Oh wow.
Nice.
All right.
Hopefully I did that math right. There's probably somebody like, you dumbass. No.
Either way, the movie's old enough to double our age, but I love it. And like I said,
I'm
R.I.P.
baked as fuck.
Rico Browning, man.
I told you them gummies, and then them gummies probably going to head us around the plot discussion too.
I'm waiting on them to kick in, right?
And we just, this is what, our third bong pack?
Third or fourth. I don't know, man. I lost count.
Jesus.
When you're talking about a movie like Spoonful of Sugar, you want to make sure you're on that level.
Or we should have dropped acid for it.
Nah, I don't know if we would have been able to follow script.
The script would be moving around the room. Also, Deep Red, Profondo Rosa?
Yep. Rosa, yeah. Yeah, like,
it's Italian. 1975.
Listen, Deep Red is legit one of the best Giallo films, if not the best Giallo film out there. And we've talked about this before. And if you're listening and you haven't seen it, go watch it and thank me later. That's all I'll say.
Listen, Suspiria. Probably the top
Argento films for me.
Probably I'd say the two most well known.
Yeah, for sure.
1964, The Last Man on Earth.
Yeah, I went into this last year a little bit. I remember I went into the adaptations, all the different adaptations of Richard Matheson's I Am Legend. But Last Man on Earth, this was always my favorite version of the screen adaptations. And it was my favorite Vincent Price film until I saw The Abominable Dr. Phibes.
And we just talked about the remake, the original Children of the Corn. And
again, I'm telling you, like a year ago, whatever episode aired a year ago, I deep dived Children of the Corn. I went into the short film and all that. But I'll save myself the breath here and not be repetitive. But I love the original movie, man. Just leave it alone. It don't need all those sequels. And I don't, honestly, to be truthful, to go back to that, I don't even know how many reboots there are. I highly doubt that all of those sequels are just sequels. I'm sure that they've probably rebooted that bitch like 7 times along the way. And now for some reason, this reboot was supposed to be important or something. It's like Hellraiser, except Hellraiser actually worked out this time.
Yeah, Hulu Raiser. Yeah. Definitely better than a 3.3 though. And from 2006, we have The Hills Have Thighs. I mean, The Hills Have Eyes.
One of the best remakes ever, period.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. I'd say the best remake is The Thing.
Yeah.
1989, The Church.
Yeah, man, a Mikhail Suavi fucking classic.
Say that name 3 times fast.
This movie's visuals and context are off the chart, man. Insane movie to watch late at night while you're stoned. If you haven't seen it, highly recommended. Is that it? All right, well,
That's all I got.
I guess we'll get on into Puff Puff Ask here, the segment of our show where we read off messages that you listeners send in to us through email at highonhorror420@gmail.com and social media at highonhorror420.
Yo, man. Puff Puff Pass.
All right, so Terry Duckett sent us this kind email. It says, "Hey, gents. Love putting on your podcast and enjoying me some edibles." How fitting that we just did edibles on this episode.
Yeah. Did you already read this and plan this out?
No.
A lot of our show seems planned, but it's really just not.
It's, as you put it, guerrilla podcasting.
I mean, like we had a whole Graham Spencer month. We'll get into it wasn't planned. We have this theme month.
But anyway, yeah, so Terry Duckett says, "Hey, gents, love putting on your podcast and enjoying me some edibles. What was the first horror movie you watched more than once, and what about it made you want to watch it again? Sorry if this has been asked before. Keep up the good work." Well, thank you, Terry. I hope you're cruising on those edibles right now. The first horror movie that I saw more than once, I believe, was Halloween. I don't truly know, but I believe it was Halloween. It stands out in my mind the most. I saw The Lost Boys a lot too. For Halloween, I kept coming back to it because I was scared as shit, but I liked it. So like, it was like part of me rewatching it was out of curiosity and intrigue, whereas The Lost Boys was just fun. And I had fun watching it and laughing at Corey Haim, singing in the tub and shit. So that was an easy watch. What about you, John?
For me, with my dad being into horror and like such, it's hard for me to tell which one it was. I have to assume it had to have been like some kind of universal monster like Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy, or my dad had the TV versions of Halloween 1 and 2.
Nice.
So we always watched those back to back. So much so that like I just thought that's how it was like filmed. Like they just made the first one and just like made the second one right away as a kid. Now on my own, I'd probably have to say maybe Friday the 13th Part 6.
Okay.
Because I remember watching that a bunch with my dad. I mean, Jason's so much fun as a kid and still is. Like, I feel like kids always like Jason more.
Yeah, I can see that. But you know that the movie that you and I have watched together the most, Child's Play 2.
Oh, it's got to be that. Yeah, it's got to be that.
We watched that shit on loop for like a week.
And then sometimes even when we don't have an
Child's Play
idea
2?
of like what to watch while we're or just put on in the background while we're recording, there's a bunch of times it's just been Child's Play 2. And now that you brought it up, like I want to watch it now.
Was there ever a movie that you were too scared to put on again?
Halloween 1 and 2. That's why my dad was putting them on. Like he would put them on, and I don't know, like I was just paralyzed there in fear, but I kept watching.
Oh shit, yeah, I feel you.
I still say, like, a lot of people I feel like talk about like what really scared them in the original Halloween, and I feel like it's most people. It's always that chase scene. Of Laurie going across the street.
Yeah, screaming,
For
banging
me,
door to door. Yeah,
I don't know what it was as a kid. But after he kills Linda and just puts the phone up to his ear.
Yeah, man.
Like as a kid, I don't know. There was just something about that. It terrified the hell out of me.
There's just
like,
something inhuman about it that just makes it uncomfortable for sure.
What about you? Do you have any you were too scared to put on again?
Well, we all know Exorcist.
Oh, also
that,
It. How did I forget the 1990 It?
I did not fuck with Exorcist, man. I did not mess with that movie. Besides that, I pretty much was willing to double dip whatever, but I was not trying to watch The Exorcist anymore after that first time.
Yeah, that's fair. I got Exorcist a little later in life. I think I was probably about 15 or 16 when I first saw it.
I was way too fucking young.
I remember, like, it was funny to me as a kid with The Exorcist that, like I said, my dad was into horror, and my sister watched a lot of horror. I watched a lot of it with her as a kid.
Yeah.
And all the kids at school kept talking about The Exorcist. And I was like, I want to see The Exorcist. And I was like 11. And I had like fifth graders like talking about seeing The Exorcist. But nobody said like what happened in the movie. I just knew it was a horror movie. And I was like telling my dad and sister I want to see it. And they're like, no, I don't think that's appropriate for you to watch. And I'm like, come on, like they were letting me like to me watch the hardcore shit. I could watch like Michael and like stuff like that. Like the slasher 80 slashers to me was like the hardcore shit back then. Like Freddy. And I just always kept wondering, I'm like, man, like I was like 12. Next year I asked again. They're like, no. And I'm like, what is it about this movie that like they won't let me watch?
Right.
And then eventually I got around to it when I was 15 and I like flashed back to like when I was 11 and I was like, now I know why they told me like it was not appropriate for an 11-year-old to watch. Like even like they wouldn't even let me watch the TV version.
Dude, right? No, that The Exorcist is one of those movies where like it's like your parents when like they tell you not to have sex or not to do drugs. Where like you're kind of like, no, you're telling me I can't do something, so I'm gonna do it. But it's one of those things that you do it, you kind of renege and go, oh no, I shouldn't have done that. Like they were right. I should have listened on that.
But it was funny because like I waited that long to watch it till I was in high school. Like that's.
Yeah.
Like I'd say about 10th grade is really when I started getting into like movies and like watching, you know, just like the history of movies.
Yeah.
So I kind of was like, oh, I kind of forgot about The Exorcist because like to me, like I knew they watched horror and like I took the opposite approach where I'm like, man, if they're telling me I shouldn't watch it and my dad and sister were the fun parent, like
yeah.
And like sibling were like, they would let me do the stuff where it's like, don't tell mom.
Yeah.
So like I would get to watch some movies like with my dad and he'd be like, don't tell mom I let you watch this. So to me, for them to tell me like, no, you can't watch The Exorcist, I'm just like, damn, like I shouldn't watch The Exorcist. Like, I don't know what's in that movie. But then like, like I stayed away from it. And then like, 15, 16, I saw it and I was like, holy shit, now I know why they told me like not to watch this. Brutal. I don't even know if it's appropriate for me at this age.
Right. You got a question over there, I think.
Let's keep this rolling. Dakota asks, what makes us horror fans so quick to forgive a horror movie for being bad and watch it repeated times, but not with other genres? I wouldn't say necessarily other genres because I would say comedy and horror, as weird as it sounds to me, are a lot the same.
Yeah.
Like you could have some pretty bad comedies, but like they're so bad they're fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like compared to most other genres, horror fans know their genre pretty well. And we understand there's budget constraints and big studios don't give them the love they deserve. So we tend to be more forgiving and we appreciate the effort that they're putting out there.
Yeah, I like that answer. That's good. It goes along with what I was going to say. I think a lot of it has to do with imagination. I think that if you're going to be bored to death or laugh at how terrible a movie it is, then at least put some fucking monster on the screen or some alien or something. Like if the characters in the movie are just humans sitting on a bench and talking and boring you, then I'm out.
So you're not a Forrest Gump fan?
The horror element makes bad movies fun. That's the best way that I can put it.
Yeah, and again, I'm going to bring it up again. It's the same thing which you said could apply to comedies. That's why I feel like, even though
that's why horror and comedy go together
the
like peanut
opposite
butter and
spectrums.
chocolate. Yeah,
they're usually, because you can have horror comedies and shit,
Yeah.
but they're usually opposite spectrums, but they kind of get treated the same way, and in a lot of ways they're similar, where you kind of forgive, those shitty 80s bikini bimbo movies that were comedies,
Dude,
the surf comedies, and they're so stupid, but they're entertaining because they're so bad.
I just watched one last week, Vampire on Bikini Beach.
Oh yeah,
There you go, prime example. Terrible fucking movie.
Yeah, but it's entertaining.
Yeah,
were you not
And I
laughing watching it?
I still watched it.
It's like hell comes to Frogtown. That movie's terrible.
Yeah,
but I fucking own it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%.
Anyway, don't forget to send your questions to us at highonhorror420@gmail.com or highonhorror420 on most of our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, what am I missing? Facebook. But let's get on to talking about the film of today's episode, Spoonful of Sugar.
All right, so look, before you start talking about the movie and getting all in depth and stuff, I just wanted to point out something here. Last week we reviewed a movie where kids did coke, and this week we're reviewing a movie where kids are taking LSD.
Dude, you're so right. This is like the Graham Skipper month.
You mentioned earlier, yeah.
Graham, if you're listening out there, I apologize for how many times I've butchered your name so many times on this episode. Drew can vouch for me. I even made sure after doing it on one episode that I was like, I'm not going to do it on this episode. And then I listened to the episode and I was like, I fucked his name up again.
I'm pretty sure it was 3 episodes in a row. You said his name several times, but at different times you said his name differently.
So Graham, if you are listening, I apologize. As somebody who has a tough to pronounce last name and you're totally easy to remember name.
Fair enough.
My bad. But yeah, that wasn't planned either, and I guess the drug kid episodes back to back weren't really planned either. But
kids are wilding these days, man.
Yeah,
they're wilding.
Maybe American cinema's catching up. Instead of letting the kids get murdered and shit, they just let them experiment with psychedelics.
Yeah, act like adults.
And I always say this time and time again. I hate going through the plot of a slow burn because it's always how much should I share? How much shouldn't I share? And there's stuff I want to tell you that you're like, oh, this happened. And I was like, oh shit. But I'm like, I can't tell you that.
Right.
And then I'm like, do I not convey enough of the episode to make, the film to make somebody then want to see it? Am I leaving it too vague? But, yeah, Spoonful of Sugar is the superior remake of Mary Poppins. Kidding. But,
true, but kidding.
I mean,
it would be if considered a remake. I would pick it over. I'd pick it over Mary Poppins
as well because it's very much a nanny situation. But it's a 2022 psychedelic psychological horror film. That is hard to say.
Yeah, say that 10 times fast.
Yeah, starred Morgan Saylor, Kat Foster, Maiko Oliver, Daniel Crovetti, and Keith Powell. Millicent, played by Saylor, is taking a semester off from her studies and taking care of Johnny, played by Crovetti. He's a sickly, mute child with severe allergies. His mother, Rebecca, played by Foster, is an author, and his father, Jacob, played by Oliver, is a carpenter. Johnny's basically in an astronaut outfit, so he can go outside and feel safe. He doesn't ever really seem to be interested in anything except digging up dead animals.
And drawing.
Yeah, drawing.
Yeah, just drawing.
Millicent also, she goes by Millie.
Millie.
Millie. Meek Mill. I don't know where I'm going with that. Anyway, Millie's pretty disturbed herself, and this becomes more known to the audience as you travel down this weird, like, twisted
rabbit hole, so to speak. Yeah.
And Millie starts to form a close bond with the kid and tells Rebecca that there's a theory that most allergies are all in the mind. She even makes a rabbit foot for Johnny after they just dig up and skin a rabbit.
And really just make the foot right there in front of you, basically.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's kind of like, I know how sausage is made, but I don't want to see it happen.
It's still not as bad as the rabbit scene in Pet Sematary 2. That shit is brutal when Clancy Brown is just going through fucking, like, buckets of rabbits, but this is still pretty vicious to watch.
And we keep seeing Millie, she microdoses on LSD throughout the film.
She's supposed to be microdosing, man, but I don't feel that she's microdosing.
I mean, she's just taking drops all day. And she ends up treating Johnny with it, too.
Yeah.
Millie's clearly smitten with Jacob, and he doesn't do anything to diffuse that situation either. He plays into the fact that she likes him. The film gets more and more dark in tone as it goes on. Some of this left me like so unsettled watching it. I messaged you when I was watching the screener for the movie. It was like, you need to check this out. We need to do an episode on this.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I kept telling you, I was like, I just feel so uncomfortable and uneasy watching this episode. Just everything's just so tense. And I'm just like, where is this going? Like,
no, yeah, this was one that you actually turned me on to. I remember I was working on another episode of this for this season, and you messaged me and were like, yo, did you happen to check out that screener that we got? And normally I'm on it. And I was like, nah, what screener? And you were like, I'm about to watch it right now. I'll let you know. And you said, you're like, dude, it makes me made you uncomfortable to watch it. And that's when
you were like, I got to see that.
Yeah, that night or the next night. I
mean,
I put it on. What does it say about
us horror fans? And I'm like, bro, I'm watching this movie, like, I don't know, man. Like, I just feel uncomfortable. It's making me anxious. Oh, fuck yeah, I gotta check that out.
I think it's the promise of, like, we're always looking, it's kind of like drug addicts in a way, like looking for the next big, like, what they call chasing the dragon. What I feel like with horror fans, like, you're always looking for that movie that really is the shit. So there's always an urge, like, you hear it's fucked up or something, there's that urgency to be like, where I want to see it, I'll determine if it's fucked up or not, you know, that type of thing.
It maybe not to the same degree, but I always compare movies to, like, the first time I watched the original Last House on the Left. And the first time I experienced that movie, I just felt dirty after watching it. Just like, I need to go do something happy.
Really legit need to take a shower. It makes you
just
legit,
like,
I need to take a shower.
I don't feel good. Like, I kind of had those feelings, like, watching this.
Yeah, because it's a slow burn, but it does lead, like, towards the ending, as things have already gotten uncomfortable and nothing's really happened yet, so to speak, because it's a slow burn. The tension's there where you're like, at any point, you're like, what the fuck is going to happen? Like, all this weird shit going down, all these uncomfortable scenarios, where is this leading?
And then I feel like there's times where it gives you enough time to kind of, I feel like, run through the scenarios in your head.
Yeah.
And some of them you're like, is it going to go this way? Yeah. And then you're like, no. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that is how it went.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think now might just be a good time to jump into our ratings and feelings on the film.
Yeah, that sounds good.
The description Shudder sent us hooked me enough that I was like, okay, I have to at least check this out when I saw the screener was sent to us. So let me just get that here. Okay, yeah, it says the description from Shudder: a disturbed babysitter experiences a sexual awakening while using LSD to treat a seemingly sick child from a family with dark secrets. That's a hell of a sales pitch to me.
You got me. Yeah, I would have been like, where's it at? Let's watch it.
I mean, we get sent a lot of screeners, so we can't always get through all of them. I know, oh, woe is us. But, like...
if you want us to watch a movie, send us a pitch like that. Yeah, for
I
real.
saw that. I was like, oh, we got a new screener. I was like, I hadn't heard of this one. And, yeah, I saw that. I was like, okay, well, at some point, I got to see what the fuck happens in this movie.
Yeah, right.
And I was not disappointed. There's a lot to like here. The pacing, the acting, the cinematography, atmosphere. I don't want to ruin it, but that ending was masterfully set up that you go back and you go, oh, that was good.
Yeah. I agree.
I don't want to ruin it, so I'll stop there with it. It's a solid, as you said, slow burn film. I'm excited to see what else Mercedes Bryce Morgan can do going forward. 8 out of 10 for me. Drew, before I throw it over to you, I want to bring up Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
I always love when critics are super harsh on a movie. Like, I'll watch a movie, I know how I feel about it. I'll go check out Rotten Tomatoes just to see what its rating is with critics. This, like, the Dave Chappelle, I think, had a special. It was like a 0, but was like a 98 with the audience rating.
Right.
So here, I looked it up. The critics have the score at 56%.
Damn, that's not even close to what it should be. That's low.
The audience score is 85%.
Yeah, that's more like it.
It cracks me up when, like, I'm just like, how can all of you critics, for the most part, be like, not good? And
Because
like,
they're not the type of people, they're not meant to view it. Like, they're not viewing it the way that
there was a
it's meant to
couple
be
of
viewed.
good reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, but I'm like, okay, so there was like 3 or 4 good reviews from these critics,
Yeah.
if that. But you're going to tell me 85% of the audience that watched it was like, yeah, I like this movie. Like,
Yeah.
it's just crazy to me that there's such a difference.
Well, like I said, I don't feel that a lot. I feel that people that give the movies like this a negative review are people who watched it but weren't prepared for what it was. They didn't necessarily want a slow burn film or something with a twist or something that made them feel uncomfortable. I feel that the 85%, the positive 85% from the audience score is because those are the people that watched the movie and knew what to expect.
Yeah,
You know?
a lot of the critics, I'm like, did you watch the movie? Because, like, a lot of the complaints I read were that it was set up, but there was, like, the plot was very weak. There was there was pacing issues, and I'm just like, what movie did you watch? Like,
I know. I hear you.
like,
I hear you.
again, I don't want to ruin the twist, but what happens, you go, and it isn't even one where I feel like a lot of times you'll watch a slow burn that has that twist, and you're like, I don't remember that. And then you'll remember, like, it'll be brought up that it happened earlier in the movie, and you go, oh, yeah. Like, this one, when it happened, I went right back and I went
I know what you're saying.
to where it got set up, and I just go, oh, shit, that was good. Like, I remember that, but throughout the course of the movie, I just forgot that.
Right.
And I'm just like, damn, that was well done. So I don't know what the critics saw on it, but audience loves it. That's really the important part.
That's like that was like me when I saw Skinamarink. Now I did not like Skinamarink, and if you want to go to our website, you can read my review on it. I did not like it, but however, I was reading other people's reviews for it, and I just felt like they watched a totally different fucking movie than I did. I just read these reviews, and I'm like, that's not even the order in which shit happened that they're saying it did. And I just feel that sometimes, like, I don't know, I feel that people who, when people like a movie, they're too quick to over embellish on it, and that makes them kind of like make what the viewer is looking for, like, kind of exceed what's actually going to happen. And then there's some people that just like hate a movie and then just shit on it, but they're still not accurate in what they're saying. So I don't know, but anyway, yeah, we've seen movies about homewreckers before. But have we seen them while they're young adults and nymphos who keep a locket of hair from all the men whose lives they've ruined, all while on LSD? I think not. Interesting fact here, writer Leah St. Marie said that Johnny was a combination of Lolita and Michael Myers mashed together.
Yeah, and I think I might add in a little dash of The Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
I like that little dash.
Little dash.
Little dashiest dash.
If I know you don't have video, but I'm doing like Macho Man fingers.
Macho Man fingers, Jesus
Ooh,
Christ.
yeah.
All right, anyway, the movie touches up on such deep and poignant themes as resentment, fear, acceptance, abandonment, mental illness, and more. And that's what kept me intrigued throughout, even though I had no idea where the story was going. And that ending really packs a punch and left me in the same frame of mind I was in after watching Midsommar, which is where I had to just sit and take it in for a few minutes after it was over. I just had to sit in silence and just kind of like mull it over and just be like, do I like that? What the fuck just happened? Like, how do I feel? You know, it took me by surprise. It made me uncomfortable many times, but the acting was superb from everyone. I don't feel that there was anybody that you watch and go, oh, this is a cheap movie, and, you know, like, the acting's terrible. The acting was fucking surprisingly very well, and the look of the film is very professional and polished. I give this a solid 7.75 out of 10. Yeah, so if you're all done, let's dig a little deeper into the movie and talk to the director of the film, Mercedes Bryce Morgan.
Today's guest has created commercials for brands such as Walmart, Clorox, Degree, Disney, Amazon, Red Bull, Apple Music, Beats, Google, and Fujifilm. She has also directed music videos as well as Happier, that was nominated in 2019 for a VMA and was #1 on YouTube the day of its release. The reason we have her here today is to talk about her newest film, Spoonful of Sugar, which debuted on Shudder on March 2nd. Thank you, Mercedes Bryce Morgan, for being high on horror.
Hi, thank you for having me here. Yeah, Spoonful is definitely different than, like Disney commercials. So really excited to talk about it.
Well, before we get into the movie, you're on High on Horror, so I wanted to ask, do you, for medicinal or recreational reasons, dabble with marijuana?
So it's actually funny. Marijuana is not my drug of choice, but obviously this is an LSD movie. And so, filmmakers do have to be researched in their subject matter to be able to create art about it. And so I would say that is more my realm of existence.
Okay, right on. Well, so before we start, let me ask you, with the state of horror right now and everything that's going on and everything, everybody seems to be happy right now. What's your favorite recent horror film that's come out?
Oh my God. Choosing favorites in something where there's so many good movies in the genre is so hard. But I love all types of horror. I really love Barbarian that came out recently. I really love Midsommar. I really love some horror movies that other people wouldn't consider horror movies, like Eighth Grade, because I like movies that make me feel really uncomfortable. So those are just a couple to name a few.
And have you always been a horror fan?
I have. I feel like what I really, really love about the horror genre is you're able to do things that other genres don't dare to do. And it's just really a director's playground. For me, I consider a good life as I'm like, okay, great. I'm able to watch a good horror movie every other day. Then life's not too bad.
Yeah, sure. That sounds pretty amazing. Well, we always try to watch horror movies as much as we can.
Yeah.
Now, what were some movies that drew you into the genre?
Some movies that drew me into the genre, I'm a big Kubrick fan. So I love Clockwork Orange and The Shining. But it's funny because I love all types of horror. I really love campy movies. I love Elvira, but I also love Martyrs. But the type of horror that I like to make, I would say, say that again. But the type of movies I love to make are more psychological thriller, drama horror, I'd have to say, because I like when people are really terrifying.
So you like horror movies that are really cheesy as well, like say Sleepaway Camp 3, but then you'll also turn around and watch The Babadook or Hereditary. So you're like us. You have a range. You're not just I only watch bougie horror or cheap 80s horror. You're kind of you just take it all in.
No, exactly. Yeah, there's so many different things to like for different moods. So I like horror that makes me laugh, and then I also like horror that makes me cry. So.
What's your favorite comfort movie that's a horror film? Say you're having a terrible day and you want to throw a horror movie on. What do you put on?
I love this question. Again, it's not I classify horror for myself as things that make me feel horrifying. So if I were to answer that more widely instead of just horror, I would say Requiem for a Dream. Because again, that's double being horrifying. So that's one of my comfort movies. I don't know why it's the most disturbing comfort movie, but for me, definitely.
Well, so you've written as well as produced, but you've done directing the most.
Yes.
So what is it that you like the most about directing, and what made you want to be a filmmaker?
Yeah, for sure. So I love directing because I love people. I like to get into my writer brain and hole myself away with my writing partner, but I also love the energy of being on set and creating something and feeling that organic energy that goes along with it. And so, and I also love producing, but I've also worked with lots of producers who are way better producers than me, and they should be producing it and I should not. And so that's just kind of what led me into it.
Okay. Well, you said that when you read the script, I saw an interview with you where you said that when you read the script by Leah St. Marie that you immediately wanted to direct it. So I wanted to ask you, like, what drew you to the project that quickly where as soon as you read it, you were like, hold on, everybody else read this, I want to direct it.
For sure. I think it really deals with the themes of family in an interesting way, because I feel like we see so many movies where it's like, family is great, and like, what will you do for your family? And for me with this, it really took that in a way different direction, and made me think about that of like, okay, this is like what these people will really do to keep their family together. And so that was a big draw for me.
And cinematographer Nick Matthews, I saw, had said that every day was a battle against the clock. He said, but we were always on the same page about what story we were telling. It's one of the most rewarding creative experiences I've ever had. How tight was the filming schedule for the film?
I'm so tight. I mean, this is a small movie. Like, this is a small movie with alternative themes. And so like, it really takes people making it like their baby and their love project. And so like with that, it was like all the people that like were, we could have and were necessary department heads that we had together. And so it was just like that every day. I feel like with movies like this, it takes more meticulous planning than other movies, because you just have to work with what you have. And so like, I'm really proud with what our crew did.
That's awesome. I don't mean any disrespect by this. I'm being totally honest here. I've never seen anything else that Morgan Saylor has done or been involved in, but she was absolutely fucking perfect for the role of Millicent. How did she get the role?
Yeah. So Morgan plays Millicent in such a wonderfully awkward way. And that's something that we really wanted to bring to this and really make it like a coming of age story in that way. And so the way that we found Morgan is like, I've heard of Morgan over the years for a couple of years, and Vanishing Angle had actually worked with her before, which is the production company. And so they said, hey, Mercedes, who would be perfect for this? Morgan. And so Morgan is actually going to NYU and doing her finals at the same time. And so we like took her away and brought her here. And so she would be on set and then like in between things writing essays for her classes, which is just very impressive on her part.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be better than being in a classroom for sure.
Yeah, totally.
And I saw that Leah had mentioned she kind of combined the characters of Lolita and a young Michael Myers in her idea for the script. Did that concept kind of resonate with you as well, or is it was something that you just wanted to be more kind of understated? Because once she said it, I went, oh my God, that is this movie.
Yeah, no, totally. I think I like it in like an understated way of you realize like, oh, okay, this is the journey that like Millicent is going on, but then you don't realize, not giving away spoilers, who all the rest of everyone in the movie is. And so it was just kind of like, okay, what if we combine multiple different types of people going through different things at the same time and put them all together in this house?
Well, was there anything that got cut from the movie because it went too far?
I also like that question. I don't know if it's like the fact of too far, but it's just like, okay, we get it. Like, for example, there was a cut of like the rabbit skinning scene when I first got the cut from my editor of the editor's cut, where Johnny brings out like 5 more rabbits that they've dug up. And I'm like, this is really not necessary. Like, we don't need to see like 5 more skinned rabbits in the scene. Like, what we have is like perfectly great enough. And so there's just things like that. There's a couple more sex scenes that didn't make it in the movie because we're just like, these are great, but they're not progressing the plot at all. And so they're not necessary. So things like that.
Well, actually, to go with that, I was going to ask you, were you met with any resistance from any of the actors, like about doing certain dark or uncomfortable scenes, or was everybody just game and no complaints?
Not really. I mean, I feel like it's a script where if someone read it and they felt that way, they wouldn't come on the project. It's like people have to be down for what they're signing up for. Like I remember there's, I won't say like for what role or who, but I remember there was actor I was talking to early in the process, and they were kind of being like, I don't know, this is like a little intense for me. And I said, like, honestly, like, you know your boundaries. Like, that's not for you at this time. Like, this, whoever's in this needs to be like absolutely in this. And so that case, like, everyone was really on board.
Yeah, the film it made me feel uncomfortable and just uneasy the like whole time. And it's
Yeah.
really a testament to the film that you can maintain that throughout the entire film. Did
Thank
you
you.
find that difficult to do throughout the filming process?
I don't think so. I think it's like what I like to do with cuts is I screen to people and just get people's reactions of like making sure we can hold tension in certain ways. And so I think with that, it's just like that's just part of learning as a filmmaker of like, okay, cool, this is how we keep people in this way, or the scene isn't working, and so like we let it go from the cut or things like that.
Yeah, just like every time I felt like, okay, I can't feel any more uncomfortable in this situation. There was just like a way to top it each time. And
Agreed.
I mean, yeah, like I told Drew, I was like, I was like, you gotta watch this. I was like, I'm watching this movie, and I was like, there's just I don't feel right like watching this movie, but like in a good way.
No, that's the best compliment. I'll totally take that.
And like, has there been any reactions to the film that have like surprised you?
Yeah, I mean, I think like, whenever someone puts a film out into the world, it's just interesting to see how people take things. And like there's been so many wonderful reactions where people are like, I love that this makes me feel uncomfortable in this way. Or there's sometimes people don't like being uncomfortable in a certain way, and that's okay. But I like to make movies that people can discuss at the end, and that's my favorite thing. And so like I've really valued like any discussions that have come up from it.
Is there anything you hope that people get out of this film?
Yeah, I mean, like I first of all, I don't like telling people what they should take away or think from a movie, because I think a movie should speak for itself. But just like really questioning, it's like I think that some movies try to lead you on with characters and making you be like, this person's great, and like they have a save the cat moment, whereas in this we have them skinning rabbits. And so, like, just really questioning, like, why we try to excuse certain people for certain things, is that, and just like kind of questioning, like, what is family, are like the biggest things I feel like we focused on.
Right on. In a lot of ways, Spoonful of Sugar is a slow burn, and I wanted to ask you, what draws you to slow burn? And were you just following the script? Was that the tone of the script, or were you able to like take the script and turn it into a slow burn?
Yeah, like I think what really makes it a slow burn is kind of like everything a lot unfolds in the end of it, and
Yep.
I think like what draws me to that is it kind of allows us to kind of go into these characters, and it's like, who are they and what are they going through first before we go into it. And like I said, it's like I love movies like Martyrs, where all of a sudden we're like, it's like violence, violence, violence. Here we go. Okay. But then I also like, making something like this, I like us taking time to go into like, here's this family in this house, and it feels like other things we've seen, but then it takes a turn on its head. And so, yeah, that was definitely there
Right.
from the beginning.
Well, in a few scenes, I noticed some very vibrant lighting. In one of the scenes in the house, there's like this blue light coming from the background that just has like no reason to be there, and I love the way it looks though. And I was wondering, was that that deep blue background and its vibrant colors? Was there any Dario Argento inspiration there, or am I just looking too much into
yeah.
it?
Definitely. Yes.
All right,
like,
right on.
I love things that are lifted and surreal. And that's kind of like what draws me. Like a lot of art I love and I'm inspired by is surreal art. So it's like the lavender that comes in like through the bathroom windows. Like Nick Matthews, my DP, and I were like, like we haven't seen
Right.
like this specific tone of lavender, to get really geeky with it in movies before in this way. And so we want to bring this in. And I think also just like taking that more like heightened tone on it. It's like what the characters are doing in this movie is like very heightened and dramatic, and so it's like, okay, like we're realizing that this is not just set in like a baseline of reality. Like everything's a little lifted here.
Yeah, and, most of the people on the crew and some of the cast have worked together on other projects. How much of a help was that to kind of keep everything moving along smoothly, especially with like a tight filming schedule?
Oh my God, so much so. Like, I feel like we develop a shorthand with each other. Like Matt Miller from Vanishing Angle, we've worked together for many years, and Katrina Kudlick, the other producer, her and I have worked together for many, many years. And it's just like, it just makes everything so much that much more smooth. Like, I did another feature back to back with this Fixation, which was at TIFF, and we shot that one and then shot this one. And then this one came out first. But it's like bringing some crew from that, or it's like I'm about to shoot another horror movie and I'm leaving for location in 2 weeks. And so I'm also bringing Nick on that one. And so, like, if something just really works, you work together well. I think it's really important to preserve that.
And how long did the film get delayed? Because I know I believe you guys were greenlit like right as COVID was happening.
Yes.
How much did that really delay you guys?
Totally. So, I mean, basically this and my other movie, Fixation, were greenlit like the exact same time. And then we were like, which one is going to shoot first? What's going to go when? And then COVID really did delay us like a year of shooting. But then we were back on. And it's just like, filmmaking is just weird during these times of when things go and are able to because of COVID. But everyone, came out of it with 2 movies, which was great.
And with the delay, did that help you guys anything like script wise, or like did it give you more time to help develop some of the stuff?
Totally. I mean, like it was nice to be in COVID and be able to shot list this completely. And so I just got to like sit in my own room with my brain and go through that. And then going into it, it's like once we are finally like out of being like, okay, you can shoot now. I was like, oh, we only have a couple weeks. Good thing that I did like all this prep time on my own. And that was really, really valuable to me.
Had you guys even started casting before you guys kind of were shut down for COVID, or was that after?
Somewhat no. It's like we had stuff, but then people become available or unavailable when we went to shoot again. So it was kind of like that as we had it, and then we picked it back up again.
And there's a lot of trippy visuals, as you would expect with a movie with LSD involved in it.
Yes.
Was it hard to accomplish any of those shots? Did you have any involvement with the process?
Yeah, not really. I mean, I think what's interesting is there's so many different types of LSD movies. And this is definitely like in the visuals it's there, but it's like we're not going to other worlds. It's a micro LSD trip movie, because our protagonist is high 24/7. Like it's what's fun been hearing the reaction from people. People are like, why is she so odd and off? What's going on with her? And they're like, oh, she's tripping all the time. That makes sense. And so with that, it's just like, pulling from how things feel wavy and just different reactions to things, I think was just like really fun to carry through from this because we have an unreliable protagonist because of that.
Now actually like pulling off any of those shots, were any of those difficult?
Not really. I mean, like I love doing things that are really visual and lifted. And so I think like it wasn't the fact that it was difficult. It was just working with small resources. Right. So it's like, okay, we can do this, but like, how do we get this done with the resources we have? But not really, it's just like, there's certain things like the masturbation scene. We're like, okay, great. We get to like pull the bedroom outside, like put a 360 track around that, have them covered in blood. And like, it's going to be freezing cold weather, but everyone's going to be troopers.
Yeah, and we want to thank you again for joining us today. Now, do you have any upcoming projects? I know there was some talks of you and Leah working together on some projects as well upcoming.
Yeah, totally. I know that I'm going to work together with Leah again because I love Leah. But I have a movie separate from that that's another horror movie, and that's shooting coming up in 2 weeks. And so that will probably be out next year, but just about to shoot that.
Awesome.
So I can't say anything more about that right now, but that is what's consuming my life currently.
That's awesome. And where can people keep up with you on social media to keep up with your projects?
For sure. So my handle is Mercedes Bryce Morgan, and they can keep up with me on Instagram.
All right. Again, we want to thank you for joining us today. Spoonful of Sugar. It was a pleasant surprise to to get that screener from Shudder. And yeah, you should take all the I feel uncomfortable watching this as a compliment, because it really is. It's just, you just feel uneasy the whole time.
I do. Well, thank you guys so much for having me on.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, thanks to all the horror hounds and smokers out there for tuning in. Thank you again thank you again to Mercedes Bryce Morgan for joining us today. Make sure to check out Spoonful of Sugar on Shudder. It's streaming now. If you don't have a subscription,
You get a free 7-day trial when you subscribe, so no excuses.
yeah, you got
Subscribe
7
and
days
watch.
to go see it.
Right.
And then if you don't renew, Samara comes out of your television and kills you. I
think the Shudder only has the original Japan Ring films and not the Chinese ones, or not the American ones. I mean, the American remake. So actually, you just got to be specific here. Shudder doesn't have the remake. They only have the
My
original.
bad.
So the original Samara, the really scary one, that's the one that's going to be coming out of your TV.
Yeah,
the ones that Shudder owns. So to
And
speak.
look, we don't blame us. We don't make the rules. That's on Shudder. Anyway, make sure to follow us on social media at High on Horror 420 at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Also, next week, we're going to have Scream 6. That's Scream 6. Scream 6, Ghostface Takes Manhattan, Scream 6, a.k.a. the one without Nev Campbell.
Scream 6, aka the one where they Rob Zombie the Scream mask.
Ugh.
But Scream 6, aka the one that John's going in with no expectations because he was so disappointed with 5.
Oh, no. I have expectations. They're fucking ground level. They got me last year. Them bastards got me last year with that trailer, and I thought it was going to be a good movie. You and Nicole were both like, oh, I want to see Scream. And I was like, no, the only good one's the first one. And even on that, you guys had me watch the trailer. I went, damn, this does look good.
Yeah.
No, it sucked. It wasn't as bad as Halloween Ends. I mean, I'm going, maybe they'll shock me. My expectations are super low.
I'm still hoping it's good, man. I'm still looking forward to it. So,
Children of the Corn, Scream, franchises that only the first movie is good.
yeah, happens. Halloween, to an extent. Halloween almost qualifies as one of those movies because the sequels are such a drastic drop, but
Yeah.
they're still enjoyable.
Yeah,
But
I would still I don't know. I was going to make a bold statement and say I would rather watch any Halloween sequel than any Scream sequel. I don't know if I could go that far.
I don't think you'd be able to watch Halloween Ends.
But, I would not watch Courtney Cox Bangs from Part 3, whatever that hair thing was going on. We are rambling on here as we're wrapping up.
Speak for yourself.
That's fair. I have been rambling for a while.
Anyway,
So,
Scream 6 is coming next
Scream
week, right?
6 next week.
Scream 6 review.
Scream 6. Oh my God. Scream 6 next week. Make sure to tune in.
And then the week after that, we'll have a review of 65.
65.
It's horror
Kylo
dinosaur
Ren
movie.
coming at you.
It's Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren versus dinosaurs. I believe I saw some leaked footage. Kylo Ren actually fights the T-Rex from Jurassic Park in this movie.
Damn.
They're gonna give the T-Rex lightsabers. You imagine you just have
With the little arms.
you just gotta twirl them.
Give him a big ass cloak.
Man, these edibles. That's what I'm blaming. Anyway, we need to get the fuck out of
He
here.
said, that's what I'm blaming.
Ain't my fault. Catch you later.
Bye, everybody. See you next week.